learners, today I will continue the class on the last part of the unit, individual and society. Dear learners, this class is concentrated on the last part of the unit, that is theory of group of mind regarding the relation between individual and society. Let us now discuss the theory of group of mind. According to this theory, man is a social being. His rational self or ideal self is nothing but the social self which can be realized in society. Every individual human being who has a rational self belongs to society. So, they are members of society. Morality and spirituality are also realized in society. So, according to this theory, the realization of social self is the main goal of an individual, which is realized only in society. Therefore, society is the medium of realizing the highest nature of self, which is indeed the social self. It is hidden in every nature of self, but every individual can realize unseen self in society. It also can be said that the potential self can be actualized in society. Therefore, every individual has an aim to realize the higher self. But this realization is fulfilled only when the individual self tries to achieve it in society or in the social universe. That is why eminent social thinker Durkheim rightly pointed out that social mind is an existence distinct from the mind of the individuals and is superior to them. This mind or collective consciousness is the higher form of psychic life. It tends to absorb the individual mind, from which it differs not only in the richness of content but also in kind. This saying of Durkheim beautifully points out that every individual self is different from the higher social self. So the commonality or the objectivity of self is realized only through the social self. It is considered as the essence of every ideal self or individual self. Individuals are interdependent members of society. He cannot realize the universal moral and spiritual self apart from other individual self or fellow men. The social self is the higher self. An individual self tries to actualize the common nature of self in society. Therefore, it can be said that society is the unity of the individual self. And every individual self leans towards the same goal, that is common good. It is also regarded as the ideal of every individual self. Now, dear learners, now we'll discuss the modern debate on individual and society. The relationship between individual and society can be classified under 4 categories in contemporary sociological theory. They are nominalism, interactionism, neo-nominalism and realism. Now, dear learners, you see the theory of nominalism. According to this theory, individual is the only reality. The general concepts such as society, group, culture, and values are not regarded as useful in order to study human behavior. The only thing which can be explained and which is very much useful is the behavior of individual. This is also so-called individual psychology. It helps to predict others' human behavior, knowing one's behavior from different angles. That is why the group context is not a real entity. It is nothing but an assemblage of different individuals. This concept has a resemblance to the social context theory. This theory also holds that society is an artificial phenomenon. Society is not a natural phenomenon because people felt a necessity of coming into contact in order to get rid of fear from natural calamities like earthquakes, flood, different diseases, etc. So this theory gives us the hint that individual has a dominant role in the social contract theory. Apart from individuals, society has no existence independently. Like the concept of nominalism, the social contract theory holds that individual precedes the society. This concept has a similarity to the organic theory of society. The organic theory also indicates the important relationship of individual and society. This theory holds that individual and society are interconnected. One cannot be discussed without the other. This theory compares the society to an organic human body. Just as an organic body is interconnected to the other parts of a body, so also individual and society are indispensably related. Now, dear learners, the new theory, that is another theory, neo-nominalism. This concept accepts the existence of group as an objective reality, as well as the idea that individual is the fundamental unit. This concept indicates that society is made up of persons and of processes which have their locus and immediate origin in the person. Social phenomena can be explained in terms of individual phenomenon. This concept amends the other concept that society is an artificial emergence of individual. Rather, it goes ahead and views that society is made up of persons who cannot be an artificial appearance. Allport and Homans are the two advocates of neo-nominalism. The neo-nominalists, reductionists, or advocates of psychological sociology view social structure as a kind of convenient fiction or a shorthand designation for summarizing individual behavior in aggregative terms. This concept has a similarity to the group mind theory, criticizing individual-centered posture over social structure. This concept gives us the hint that social self is also equally important like the individual self. Social self can give us the important point that social self is an aggregate of individual self. That is why this concept put importance on social behavior in order to describe the relationship between individual and society. Now, dear learners, you will know another most important theory, that is realism. This doctrine, this theory holds that both group and individual are real. They are not concrete but are abstract entities. It also holds that group is understandable and explicable in terms of social processes and factors, but not explicable or understandable by reference to individual behavior. Now, Durkheim, eminent sociologist, holds that social processes are independent of human will. That is why social phenomena cannot be reduced to individual phenomena. A whole is not identical with the parts, so society is not a mere sum of individuals. It is said that the first origins of social phenomena are psychological because the only elements which make up society are individuals. Individuals represent specific characteristics because nothing collective can be produced if individual consciousness is not taken into account. But individual consciousness itself cannot be a characteristic. When individual consciousness are combined in a certain way, then social life can come into emerge. The tendency to explain the social life through psychological factors is not a correct explanation. Although it is thought that certain qualities like religious sentiments, parental love, sexual jealousy are innate in man. Still, these qualities are the results of collective socialization process. Therefore, collective life is not derived from individual life. The latter, that is, the individual, cannot explain the former, that is, the collective, but it can at least help an exploration. A sociologist explains the social facts, but later he can take benefit from his psychological relation. Yet he must concentrate on the realm of social facts. This was Davidson's view. In sharp contrast to Durkheim's view, George Homans, an advocate of neo-nominalism in contemporary sociology, holds that society can be derived from psychology. His view leads to reducing everyday behavioral psychology. According to this view, social processes can be reduced to the laws of behavioral psychology. This sociologist lay emphasis exclusively on psychological and social psychological phenomena. It undoubtedly leads to one-sided research in sociology. Turner says that Homans reduces sociological questions into psychological questions. But according to Leslie White, an American sociologist, individual behavior and social institutions are to be explained in terms of culture. Everything that any people thinks, feels, and does is culturally determined. There is still another group of thinkers, such as Charles Horton, Quilly, Janosky, who hold individual and society are two aspects of the same reality. According to Thomas and Janosky, the individual is neither the product of his milieu, nor does he produce his milieu. Rather, we can say both. Another scholar, White, has claimed that culture, not the individual, is the only genuine reality. The question whether sociological phenomena can and must be reduced to psychological phenomena has been a critical issue in contemporary sociology. In this respect, reductionism can never give us an adequate answer regarding the relationship between individual and society. Rather, it deviates its track from the original issue of the relationship between individual and society. Man is more than a psychological animal because he is also the product of culture. However, society is not mere collection of individuals. Rather, it is an entity involving a qualitative jump from individual to society. That is why it is not a satisfactory strategy to reduce the social phenomena to psychological phenomena, or to reduce psychological phenomena to social phenomena in the context of individual and society. Now, dear learners, you have to take another eminent scholars, that is Anthony Giddens' view on structuralism. In the above discussion, we have seen that in the context of the individual and the society, both individual consciousness and social phenomena are mutually complementary. But what roles does the social structure play in determining the activities of the individual? In this context, we can mention Anthony Giddens, well-known British sociologist who refers to the classical theorists holding the view that social structure decides the action of the individual. We can call it dualism. Let us see how Peter J. Kivisto, an American sociologist, defines structuralism. According to him, the structuration is an attempt to overcome the dualism that he sees as plaguing other theories. A dualism that gives priority either to actors or to social structures. Structures are created by humans, but they in turn constrain and enable human action. You may wonder what this dualism means. According to this definition, the dualism lies in the relation between the individual and the social structure. Just as the structures are created by human beings, they are also controlled by social structure. Giddens asks the question, is society made up of the sum of individual actions, or is society more than the sum of these actions, and is there a social structure that is independent of each individual's action? Now, dear learners, you see how Giddens points out some salient features of structure. Their structures exist only in human memory. structures exist only in practice. They are produced by agents. Structures enable us to do actions. They also exercise control on the actor. Structures consist of rules and resources which agents or actors draw upon in the production and reproduction of social life. He views that the relationship between social structure and individual or actor or agent is never taken as dualism. Neither the agent can be explained in terms of social structure, nor the social structure can be explained in terms of the agent. He holds the view that structure inherently involves structuration. The actor always does some activity, and doing some activities, he actually does structuration. Structuration implies reproducing structure. So reproduction of structure is structuration. Now, dear learners, this is all about the theory of group of mind. So after listening this theory, the group theory of mind, you have to take some very crucial points one by one. First one, that is nominalism, holds that individual is the only reality. There are not any general concepts like society, culture, value, etc. According to this concept, knowing one's behavior, we can predict others' behavior also. This concept undoubtedly has a similar viewpoint to the social contract theory for the presupposition of independent reality of individual. Now, another most or crucial point, that is interactionism. Like the organic theory discusses the interaction of individual and society. Now another important theory, that is neo-nominalism. It is a developed form of nominalism which holds that the view that both individual and group mind are fundamental units. This theory points out the social behavior of man, which is very much important in order to explain the interrelationships of individual and society. Realism holds that social life is not explicable in terms of individual behavior, although individual behavior or consciousness can take a role. The latter developed concept also innovates the discussion, discussing other concepts like culture, individual psychology, social self, common good, functionalism, structuralism, etc., regarding the relation of the two. It can be asserted from the above discussion that reductionist strategy is only able to give us a partial discussion out of the two. That is why it can be said that when we discuss society, it automatically reminds us of the individual, and when we talk of the individual, it immediately takes us to the society. So, the attempt to discuss one without the other will be incomplete. From the perspective of modern thinkers, Giddings' view cannot be totally ignored in the context of the relation between individual and society. He has gone beyond the scope of reductionism in order to discuss the relation. He therefore points out that human actions and their reactions are the only reality, and we cannot regard societies or systems as having an existence over and above the individuals. Now, dear learners, These are the highlighting points or the crucial points of the theory of group of mind. Now, dear learners, in order to know more about this theory, you have to read some important books. That is the book Modernity, Postmodernity and Neo-Sociological Theories written by S.L. Doshi. Modern Sociological Theory written by M. Francis Abraham. Then John Mackenzie's book A Manual of Ethics. Another important book, A Manual of Ethics written by J. N. Sinha. Then Sociology written by H. K. Rawat. Thank you, dear learners.